Today, let's look at the cell membrane, gatekeeper of the cell. At the border separating two nations, custom officers check the items that travelers are carrying. Some materials, such as firearms and plants, are not allowed to cross the border because of a country's laws. In a similar way, materials passing into and out of a cell are checked at the cell membrane. Like the customs checkpoint, a cell membrane allows some substances to enter or leave the cell, and it stops others altogether. Some cells are selective. They only let certain materials cross their membrane. They are called selectively permeable. Some cells let everything through their membrane. They are called permeable. And some cells don't let anything through their membrane. They are called impermeable. So how does a cell membrane carry out this function? The answer is in the structure of the membrane. Imagine you have two small bags. One is made of plastic and the other is made of cheesecloth. Now imagine you pour water into both bags as shown. The plastic one holds the water, but the cheesecloth lets the water run through. The plastic bag is impermeable to water, while the cheesecloth is permeable to water. The difference is due to the differences in the structure of the materials from which the bags are made. According to particle theory, the particles in all liquids and gases are constantly moving in every direction, bumping into each other. These collisions explain why particles that are concentrated in one area, such as the ink blob, spread into parts where there are fewer ink particles and thus fewer collisions. This spreading out process is called diffusion. Eventually, the ink particles will become evenly distributed throughout the container of water. At this time, individual ink particles continue to move, but there is no further change in the overall distribution of the ink in the water. Just like the ink, food coloring and the color from certain crystals would also diffuse through the water if they are left undisturbed for several minutes. This process is called diffusion. Diffusion also plays a part in moving substances into and out of cells. The concentration of dissolved carbon dioxide gas in water is the same concentration of dissolved carbon dioxide gas in an amoeba's cytoplasm. Carbon dioxide particles therefore move into and out of the cell at the same rate, passing through small openings in an amoeba's selectively permeable membrane. The rate of diffusion depends on how concentrated the particles are both inside and outside of the cell. Whoa, that's a lot to take in. Are you still with me? It's okay, it'll all make sense soon. Osmosis. The most common substance found inside and around a cell is water. About 70% of a cell's content is water, and most cells die quickly without a supply of this liquid. Water particles are small and can easily move into and out of cells by diffusion. The diffusion of water through a selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. You've probably seen osmosis at work. Have you ever cut a carrot stick? You might notice that after a few days the carrot sticks look dry and wilted. But if you put them back in water, they absorb the water and kind of come back to life. Next we look at active transport. Some particles, such as water, carbon dioxide, and oxygen, diffuse freely into and out of cells through small openings in the cell membrane. This process depends only on the concentration of the particles. It occurs without any use of energy by the cells. The controlled movement of substances through a cell membrane is carried out by the membrane itself. To understand how it does this, scientists have studied the membrane structure at great detail. With the help of powerful microscopes, they discovered large particles called carrier proteins embedded in the membrane. Like gates in a wall, carrier proteins control substances entering or leaving the cell. Each carrier protein attracts particles of a particular substance. The protein attaches to the substance and moves it through the membrane and releases it on the opposite side.